Good morning and welcome to another pre-market review session with the Market Trader. My name's Ray, the Market Trader. And before we get started here, let's go ahead and review our risk disclosure here, guys, just to let everybody know that the content that's being published and distributed by the Market Trader is to be used as general information only. There's none of the information provided by the company or contained herein is intended as investment advice and offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any security, company, or fund. We all understand that the use of this information is to be used at your own risk, and a company, as partners, representatives, agents, employees, and contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. We all understand that future trading does carry a substantial amount of risk and is not for every investor. An investor could potentially lose all or more of their investment capital, and then only risk capital money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation or an offer to buy, sell futures, options, or forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Morning, Dirk. Okay, all right. So now that we've gotten through the risk disclosure, we'll turn our attention to the news portal here and see what news we have in store today that has an impact on impacting the markets here. Okay, so we have, let's see, we have the already a report out on the New York Fed manufacturing. We have another report coming out here on housing market at 10 a.m. and then surrounded by a number of Fed members speaking. Okay, we have Fed member Moran speaking at 9:30 Eastern, Fed member Williams speaking at 10:30 Eastern, and again Moran speaking at 11 a.m. Eastern. Okay, so I would say relatively light in the way of news, but we do have, as we look a bit ahead on the week, we do have a pretty significant day of news tomorrow. We have unemployment rate, retail sales, non-farm payroll coming in tomorrow. PMI, services PMI, manufacturing PMI, composite PMI, all coming in tomorrow. So again, while today's not all that, we don't have all that much in the way of news today. News is indeed coming and continues to, I guess, dominate most, if not all, the week here. Okay. All right. So now that we have a feel for the news, good morning, Alejandro. We're going to go ahead now and take a look at the markets. We're going to go ahead and start with our normal market, but we're going to maybe take a little bit of a kind of a higher level view here. When I start the week, I like starting the week with slightly higher time frame to start. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start off with the kind of the monthly chart here and see what we have going here. So I do this on a once a week basis, and I like doing it just at the start of the week. And you can see here, looking at the monthly chart, you see a market that is very much in a bullish trend, right? There's really nothing indicating here that there is any slowness to the upside move that we're getting in the markets here, right? Looking at the weekly chart, okay, weekly chart, again, similar. We had a little bit of a dip here, a couple weeks, tail end of October here, right? And then again, we resume our move to the upside. Okay. Looking at the daily, all right, daily, you can see that maybe, again, you can see that we might be, look at what appears to be some sort of consolidation pattern. Maybe you consider this more of an ascending wedge pattern of some sort. Okay, you can see that, right? We ascending wedge. So we continue to respect the lower end of this pattern here, and we're coming up into an area, right? Assuming that this is going to continue to serve as an area of resistance, that we could get maybe another little bit of a pullback before we make any sort of significant move here. Okay. So right now we're up against a daily level. All right. So I don't know what the highs here are. Let's see what the highs are. 43.93. We had a close here 41.09. Currently, we're at 43.30, 43.37, 43.71, I should say. High of 43.84.3. Okay, so we have we reached the close, the highest close here. I'm just trying to see highest close so far, 43.89, 43.59. We opened higher, 43.71. So assuming that this candle does indeed close above, right, this would actually create a new high in the market. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so let's go ahead now and take a look at the 4-hour chart. Okay, 4-hour chart. We're going to go ahead and disable some of our indicators here. Turn this off. Okay. All right, so looking at the 4-hour, you can see that we continue to make higher highs and higher lows in this market. Again, you can see that we're up against this area of resistance here at 43.80, let's say 43.83. We're up and against an area, so a little bit. We're getting a little bit in the way of some indecisive candles here. Really don't know exactly which direction to take this market at the moment, but the market nonetheless continues to show signs of strength to the upside. Okay, looking at these set of candles here, right? You can see that the market has been continuing to make higher highs and higher lows. Now, of late, over the last, I guess, 8 hours, we've been a little bit indecisive here as to which direction they want to take this market, right? So it'll be interesting to see, and we'll move in once we move into the 30-minute chart, and as we move into the session, whether we get some continued indication as to which direction they want to take this market. All right, so let's take a look now at the 30-minute. Okay, looking at the 30-minute chart, we're going to do a little bit of comparison here. You can see that we've created maybe a little bit of maybe a triple top, maybe certainly a double top, right? Price still remains above our VWAP, but it did manage to get below our 9 EMA. So a little bit of a mixed bag with respect to general sentiment. So we're going to take a look at the fixed range volume profile. Let's see where price is in relation to Friday's price action. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and find the start of Friday here, and then carry that through. All right, to the close here. There it is. Okay, so you can see we are above value from Friday. Okay, so indicating that there is a little bit of interest, a little bit of a premium interest. We're going to make that an area of support. Okay, so assuming that we can stay above, let's say call it 43.62.60, then the expectation is that price will continue higher. Now we are getting, looks like a little bit of an inability to get above to make a new high. We are seeing a little bit of a slowdown in the momentum to the upside. So should we accept value, right, and that would also cause price to close below, right, would not be a surprise, right, for me to see price. Let's open up. Do I have settlement here? Let's open up settlement. Yeah, it would not be a surprise to me that we would come back to settlement from Friday. Okay, assuming that we do get back inside the value range from Friday. Okay, and that would kind of be more of a range move in this market, right? So let's take a look now at the initial balance ranges for the various markets and see what we have in store here. So let's take a look at the initial balance initially for the Asia session. All right, so we'll go ahead and open up for Asia, and you can see that we had quite the move to the upside in Asia, right? We extended not only the 200% extension, but continued all the way to the highs of Friday. Okay, highs of Friday. So we reached the highs of Friday, and we basically at least initially found the same type of participants that we found the last time we were here, right? We found some sellers. Now the question now becomes, do the sellers have enough participation to continue to drive price in the other direction? Okay. or are we just kind of building up, momentum here to potentially head higher? Okay. But if we are, we obviously need to get above 43.82. All right. So let's take a look now at the London session and see what London is able to do with this. And you can see London is pretty much in range, right? While Asia was bullish, right? Asia was bullish. London has not been able to make a move in either direction. They've peaked above, rejected, peaked below, rejected for now. Okay. Right now, we do see that price is below our 9 EMA, but it's also above our VWAP. So kind of giving us a little bit of a mixed signal as to direction. So without a confirmed direction, the best thing that we could do is kind of wait for price to tell us which direction they want to take this market. We're not getting anything in the way at the moment, anything in the way of any sort of aggressive buying or selling. And you can see that price has created a high volume node, right? There's a lot of price action both on the buy and the sell side at this 43.72 level, right? And it's created, and looking at the volume profile, it's created a high volume node here. Okay, so high volume nodes are generally not necessarily the areas that we want to participate, right? Because that means it's a market that's in range. It's a market that's in balance, right? And we don't necessarily benefit from a market that's in balance, right? We benefit from a market that moves into some sort of trend, and at the moment, it's not in a trend. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the U.S. session here just to see what kind of initial balance range is established. So initial balance, relatively quite narrow. Okay, quite narrow range that's developing here. So it's not going to take all that much effort for the market or the market participants to drive price in either direction, but they have to pick which direction that's going to be, right? Is it going to be to the downside, or is it going to continue sort of the path of what Asia overnight, mainly Asia session, has been able to do with this market, right? London was not able to do much of anything, right? London is, as I mentioned, inside this range, right? Right now we have a relatively narrow range, so the best course of action for this particular market is to be patient and wait for maybe some further indication as to which direction they want to take this market. Okay, an extension of the initial balance range seems to be kind of the proper thing to do here. A break of structure, either price above 43.80 or below 43.70 would be something of note. Okay, so headed into the market again, like I said, the market in general, I would say is still bullish as long as price remains above the value range from Friday. I would say that the market is sentiment is still on the bullish side. If we start to see price break below the VWAP and maybe get back into value, then maybe on the short run, maybe we make a trip down to settlement price, right? So that's kind of what I have here for the gold market. All right, and we'll take a peek here at chat and see if there's anything in the way of questions on the analysis here. So doesn't appear to be. So we'll go ahead and move on to the crude oil market and take a look at the crude oil market. Again, we're going to take a little bit of a macro view of this. All right, so macro view, again, you can see a market that continues to show signs of weakness, right? Looking at the monthly chart, right, you can see that the market is continued to move down, right? Monthly chart is lower. Weekly chart is also lower, although, I would say it's not with a lot of momentum, right? It's kind of more of a grind lower, right? It's a grind lower, right? So it's not a free fall, right? There are obviously participants on both sides of this market, but the market nonetheless is still to the downside. All right, taking a look at the daily, as we've seen for quite some time, we remain in this bearish channel, right? You can see, right? This is my bearish channel. Right, we remain in this bearish channel. Now, could we find some buyers here at 56.50, 56.60 in that range, certainly, right? We've seen buyers here in the past, and that would be a logical place for buyers maybe to come back into this market. If it fails, right, and we see historically this area has been supportive, right? The question now becomes, do they have the participants? Do they have enough participants to drive price away from this area and drive price higher? Well, so far it doesn't appear that they do. Okay, if it does manage to close below the say 57 level, looking to the left here, we start to open up the door for prices below. Right, we have 57, which we're currently at. And then the next logical level would be as low as 44. Okay, looking at the daily chart. Okay, right. So again, a market on the daily and the higher time frame that's showing quite a bit of weakness here. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead now and take a look at the 4-hour chart. Looking at the 4-hour chart, we're going to go ahead and turn off initial balance here for a moment here. And then we're going to see if we can give you guys some more visibility as to these candles here. Okay, so there you see we are inside a channel, inside some bearish structure to the downside. Right. Again, I can capture this move right in a channel to the downside, indicating that we are still very much in a bearish market. Okay, market again is making lower lows and lower highs. Okay. The question now becomes, can it close below 57? If it closes below 57, again, we have the opportunity. You can see here 56.50s is just around the corner, right? 56.50 would not be too much of a stretch, and maybe as low as 56 for this market. Okay, taking a look at the 30-minute chart. Okay, looking at the 30-minute chart, again, continue to show signs of bearish price action. We have an engulfing bearish candle here. We see that price is below our VWAP and below our 9 EMA. Okay, both indicating that there is still some more downside to this market. All right, I'm going to go ahead now and take a look at the fixed range profile, and I'm going to compare Friday's price action with what's going on currently. All right, and drag this across here. All right, there. Okay, so you can see that price is below value, right? We came back, we retested the low end of value, and what did we find? We found more sellers, right? So price broke the range, came back to a logical area where we would see maybe some continuation, and sure enough, we are in the midst of maybe a continuation move of this market to the downside. Okay, taking a look at the initial balance range across the various sessions, we'll take a look here at Asia to start. So Asia was, let's see, let's turn this on here. All right, it's a pretty wide range. Oops, not the one. Let's disable this one and open up this one. And we'll turn this to, okay, there it is. Okay, so Asia, right, looking at the initial balance range, was, I would say, pretty much neutral up until we got into London, right? Really no price advance in either direction during the Asia market, right? They attempted to take the market higher, but that was short-lived. We got London to come into this market, and London it has extended the market to the downside. So we have a fair number of shorts in this market currently, right? We had made for again, a nice little extension to the downside. We get a little bit of a pullback, right? We got a little bit of a pullback back to VWAP, and what did we receive? Well, we received yet another bearish candle here. So heading into the market, I would have to say that we are let's see, settlement price. We already kind of tested that already. We're kind of moving away from settlement. So yeah, heading into the session, it appears that we are in a continued bearish market, and we need to continue to look for opportunities, I would say, to the bearish side. Okay. And like I said, I think once if assuming that we break below 57, I think that certainly opens the door for what I saw before was 5650. Okay, 5650, and that would take us back to this area, this area down below. Okay, 5650, 5630, 5640, this area. Okay. All right. All right. Before we move on to the equity market, so again, and to summarize the crude oil market, I would say that we need to continue to look for opportunities to the downside. We're about still a bit away from the open of the crude oil session, but the crude oil session does or crude oil in general does appear to be a bearish market here. Okay. So before we move on to the equity markets here, guys, I'm going to make my little plug here for the portal, my YouTube channel, and encourage you if you're not already a subscriber to subscribe. If you haven't hit the like yet as of yet, and you found benefit so far in my analysis of the markets, then I would encourage you to hit the like button. And yeah, and then last but not least, don't be shy with leaving a comment or two on the channel indicating to folks on how this analysis is supporting your understanding and executions of the market. Okay. All right. Let's now that we've gotten through my obligatory marketing here, we'll go ahead and start off with the Nasdaq. And again, as I mentioned, I like starting the week with a slightly higher time frame. We're going to go ahead and start with the monthly chart and see what the monthly chart is doing. Okay, so this is the second month. This is the second month in a row, right? We're getting a bearish candle in an otherwise kind of bullish market here, right? So you can see here we're making some higher highs and higher lows. We're developing a little bit in the way of some sort of indecisive candle here at the moment on the monthly chart, but nonetheless, it's a market that is in some sort of bullish swing. We look to the left, there's really nothing to stand in its way. We see that we're a bit extended away from our 9 EMA, but I suspect that if we were to open up some other EMAs here, we would find ourselves above those as well. Okay. Taking a look at the weekly. Okay, weekly chart. Again, we seem to be kind of hovering in some sort of range. Okay. Some sort of range here at the moment in the Nasdaq. We're having some difficulty in getting above this 26,000 level. We are, I don't know, maybe a smaller little triangle pattern that's developing here on the weekly chart will probably be more visible in the daily, right? We have a little bit of a triangle pattern that's forming. Looking at the daily, you can see, I guess, more evidence of this triangle pattern. And we basically, what it amounts to is that we're coiling, right? We're coiling. We don't know exactly which direction this is going to end up going, but we're coiling in one direction or the other. Okay. So the fact that we're coiling, I can tell you what the magnitude of the move is, but I can't necessarily tell you exactly which direction is going to be. Now, if what led to the coiling is any indication, it's going to be to the upside. Okay. But the fact that we are coiling and are having some difficulty making new highs and getting above, say, this 26 or 26,500 level, the longer we stay up at these levels without maybe securing a new high, well, that opens the door maybe for the sellers to begin to get some confidence to drive the market the other direction. Okay. Let's take a look now at the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart. We'll turn off initial balance here for a moment and take a look and see what this chart is telling us here. I'm going to go ahead and remove the drawings. The drawings are really not helping me at the moment. So again, if we just look at the more recent candles, right? If we just look at the more recent candles, you can see that the price has broken some structure here to the downside. You can see that price is below our 9 EMA and above our VWAP. Okay. So if we get into some additional more context here, right? We came into a level of support, somewhat support, right? And we've kind of reacted away from it. The question now becomes, can the market make a new high? Can the market get above the current candle that it's working up against, like this most adjacent candle, this bearish candle here? Can price get above that candle, and can it get above the 9 EMA? Because right now it appears that we are in some sort of bearish structure here. So right on the shorter time frame. Looking at the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart giving us a little bit of a different look and feel to this, right? You can see that price has reacted away from the settlement price. We see that price reacted away from a VWAP and now holding above our 9 EMA, which is on the shorter time frame, bullish, right? Okay, but it is in an area, right? It is in an area where we could potentially see, right, sellers step in at any moment, at any time, right? Because we have other than the fact that we've broken some structure here, we're still, I would say, still very much in bearish control here, right? We need to see price get above 25,630 to really start to feel like that the bulls really have a strong command of this market. So until then, I have to, respect the fact that there's this 25,630 level above me. I also have this point of control here at 25,570. Those areas could serve as some areas of some resistance. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what the fixed range volume profile has to say about all of this. Okay, so we'll start off with the start of the session on Friday, work our way to the close. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so here, this is start of Friday. Okay, there it is. Drag that across to the close. Right. So again, we were in range up until this most recent candle. Right. We were in some sort of range. Now we have a candle that's working its way above this value area high. Is this an indication that we could maybe see a return to the highs of Friday, right? Assuming that we can stay above the value area high, right? Assuming that we can stay above value area high, then maybe that's still very much in the cards. Okay, let's take a look now at the see what the overnight was able to do with this market. So we're going to go ahead and open up the Asia session here. Okay, looking at the Asia session, you can see that the market, what did the market do? Well, it once it extended the initial balance range for Asia, created a little bit of a double bottom and rallied. Okay, London took that information and ran with it, right? So a lot of overnight longs, right? A lot of overnight longs currently in the market, right? So the question now becomes, now that we are a bit, I would say, a little bit extended away from the initial balance range, do we have the market participants as we enter the New York session to continue to drive this market higher? Okay, would not rule out the possibility of maybe making a move, maybe up to this 25,415 level, and maybe come back and retest value area high. And maybe that offers us maybe an opportunity for a continuation move to the upside. Okay, so yeah. So again, Asia bullish, London bullish. At least on the shorter time frame, we're getting some indication that maybe the market is maybe intent on maybe revisiting the highs of Friday. Okay, thank you. Appreciate you. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's see. So yeah, headed into the session. Again, we have maybe a little bit of a mixed bag. I'm just going to take a look here at the 4-hour. Okay. So the 4-hour is starting to make some headway here to the upside. We've obviously broken the channel here, right? We've broken the channel to the upside, right? In the 4-hour, indicating that maybe there is some strength, maybe there is some conviction. Thank you, Camilla. Yeah, I didn't recognize the name. Yeah, I didn't recognize the name, Camilla. Hopefully you're making progress on the book. All right. So headed into the session again, guys, I'm seeing some signs. I'm seeing some signs here that the market is trying to maybe continue in a bullish direction to start the week. I would say the areas of maybe some areas of concern here would be the point of control here around 25,638. I think that would be maybe a natural place for the market to lead to. Um, I think we have the 25,415 level. That's also could also be an area of resistance because that was a prior area of support. So it'll be interesting to see if the market is able to get above that level. Okay, but headed into the session, I would say I'm seeing some signs, right, that the market might be in a. We certainly have a number of bullish participants in this market in Asia and London, and that obviously has the potential of kind of carrying its way through to the U.S. session here. Okay, so my view, at least for now, not necessarily meaning that I want to buy right at these levels, but it means that if I do get a pullback where I can manage my risk, maybe back down to value area high, maybe back down to 9 EMA or even as low as VWAP, those would be logical locations where I could potentially participate in this market to the upside. Okay. All right. So 25,000, let's say 360, okay, would be one level. The 25,350 as another. I would say the value area high, not value area, the initial balance high for London would also be maybe 25,292. Could also be another location where we could look maybe for some long opportunities. Okay, so that's kind of what I have for you guys for the NASDAQ. We're going to go ahead now and move into the ES here and take a look and see what the ES has to offer us. Again, we're going to go ahead and start with the monthly chart. Again, looking at the higher time frame and see what the higher time frame is telling us. Well, the higher time frame is telling us that we are in a little bit of indecision, right? Of late, in the last couple of months, right? We haven't really continued our march to the upside, right? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months of bullish price action. Last couple of months, or at least the last month, was quite indecisive, right? We had a very long wick to the buy side, and now we're developing a kind of a wicks on both ends of the candle, right? So the monthly chart, while still bullish, is showing that maybe there is a little bit of indecision as to which direction they want to take this market. Okay, looking at the weekly chart. Weekly chart, you can see that we are in a little bit of range. You see a lot more in the way of overlapping price. You see that the slope in which we were moving higher has slowed a bit. Okay, so indecision on the monthly, range on the weekly. Looking at the daily chart, also in some sort of range, right? On the upside, on the high side, let's call it 60, 69.30. On the low side, 65.51. But we've been in range, right? A lot of overlapping price, right? Price overlapping each other here. Okay. Looking at the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, we're going to go ahead and stretch this out here a little bit. We're going to go ahead and turn off the initial balance range and see. Okay, so again, of late, right, we seem to be in some sort of bullish swing, right? You see that price has managed to get above our 4-hour. I managed to get above our 9 EMA, all right, indicating that maybe we got some short time momentum to the upside. Now, how far can this go? Well, I like to see price because I feel like maybe the set of participants that created this candle here, right, are still technically in control here, right? So I'd like to see if we are indeed in some sort of bullish swing to the upside, I'd like to see price get above 68.90.50, right? This is the open of this candle, right? That drove price to the downside, right? If we do manage to get above 69.50, then that gives me maybe a little bit more confidence that maybe we are in a swing that could take us up to 69.20 and maybe beyond. Okay. So daily, not just daily, 4-hour is starting to give us some indication of some bullish price action. All right. Take a look at the 30-minute. All right. 30-minute chart. We're going to go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile. We're going to compare price action from Friday to what's going on at the moment and see, okay, well, what is it doing? Well, you can see that price is above value, right? Above our value range from Friday, indicating that, again, participants are willing to pay a premium to be part of this market to the upside, okay? Price is hugging our 9 EMA, right? So as long as price remains above our 9 EMA, that's an indication of continued maybe momentum to the upside. You see our VWAP is hovering right at the edge of the value area high from Friday. That would be a logical location for price if we were to come back to continue, right, and reverse away from that area, okay? All right, let's take a look at the initial balance ranges across the various markets here. We'll start off with our Asia session and see where that's what they were able to do with that. Well, similar story, right? They were pretty much in range, or maybe they were able to extend the range, and then they basically stayed on above the initial balance high for the rest of the session. London came along, and what did London do? Well, London drove price higher. Okay, so we have a fair number of buyers in this market. Now, that's created, pretty good separation of price and VWAP. Notice, right, when price made that extension, what did price do? Well, it came back and retested the conviction, right? Retested the conviction from VWAP, and off it went. VWAP offered a very nice location for the beginnings of a bullish move to the upside. Okay, so headed into the session, while I understand on the higher time frame that I am in some sort of area of range, I cannot deny the fact that the market does appear to be in some sort of bullish sentiment at the moment. Now, does that mean I need to participate right at the highs? No, but it does mean that maybe if I have an opportunity, maybe 15 minutes or half hour into the session, that if I get a little pullback back to a known level where I can manage my risk, it would not be the worst trade in the world to maybe participate in a continuation move to the upside if the market provides it to me. Okay. All right. Let's, we have 20 minutes remaining here. So let's take a look here at the Dow, and we'll take a look there and see what the Dow has to offer. Okay, so here you are, Dow even appears stronger, right? Hey, Michael. This even appears even stronger maybe than some of the other markets we've been seeing, right? You see developing a quite a strong bullish candle here at the moment. Okay, in a market has already been bullish. All right, weekly chart. Weekly chart, again, also we're staircasing our way to the upside, okay, indicating that we are still in a bullish market. Daily, okay, daily, last couple of candles here, although, again, showing, I would say, a bit more impulsive moves, I would say, are happening in the Dow, right? Where the ES and the NQ were kind of giving us a little bit more range kind of price action, right? We were getting these last couple of candles were maybe a little bit more indecisive on ES and NQ than they are in the Dow. Okay, take a look at the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart. We're going to go ahead and turn off initial balance here for a moment. Okay, looking at this, you can see that we had a little bit of a slowdown in momentum. We had a push lower. Now the question is, can price get above 48,860? Okay, because that will continue to support this pattern of higher highs and higher lows. If it cannot, then there's two outcomes, right? Means that we'll stay in some sort of range, or maybe continue this initial move that was made with this 4-hour candle, and maybe we drive price down to some of these lower levels, say 48,120, maybe as low as 48,000 itself. Okay, taking a look at the 30-minute chart. Okay, 30-minute chart. Again, we're going to do a little bit of comparison here between see our fixed range volume profile and just get just kind of a general idea of where a price is in relation to current price action, right? So you can see that price is above our 9, above our VWAP, again, giving us some indication that the market is in some sort of bullish sentiment at the moment, right? A bullish structure, I should say. I'm going to go ahead and open up my fixed range volume profile and get a sense for where price is in relation to Friday's price action. Okay, so here you are. So we kind of peaking our way above, right? Peaking our way above. This might be a little bit further along, but it appears that we are peaking above our value here, right? Value area high, and maybe in the beginnings of maybe a potential move to the upside. Okay. Now, me personally, I don't necessarily like to be the first one to be a part of this. What I'd like to see is some sort of move, right, with some volume, and then have the market give me an opportunity where I can use value area high in this case of an opportunity to drive price higher. Okay. We are a bit extended to the upside, right? We see that VWAP is still is a ways away from where price is currently. So it would not be out of the realm of possibility here that price were to revisit VWAP and offer us a move to the upside. Okay, these are a couple of bullish scenarios. Now, if price closes below our 9 EMA and closes below our VWAP, then it opens the door for price to get back down to settlement. But I'd like to see price get below and close below 9 EMA. I'd like to see price close below our VWAP, and then maybe that opens the door for price to revisit the settlement price from Friday. Okay. All right. Let's take a quick look here at the initial balance ranges for the earlier sessions here. We're going to go ahead and open up the Asia session and take a look. Okay. So you can see, similar to the NASDAQ and the ES, Asia managed to get price above the range, but it wasn't until London that they were able to drive price higher. Okay, so taking a look at London, you can see that the market, is respected the initial balance high, and you can see that price is kind of managing or kind of working its way higher. Okay, so entering into the session or entering into the New York session, it appears, at least on a shorter time frame, that the market is inside some sort of bullish structure on the higher time frame. I would say more so on the NQ and the ES. We're seeing a little bit of indecisive candles forming, but on the shorter time frame, we see a market that appears that it wants to continue to the upside. Okay, let's go ahead and take one final pass here, and maybe we'll take a peek at maybe some other alternative markets here. Okay, so you can see here we're seeing some signs of gold, right, of breaking down, and that would make sense, right? If the equities are bullish, then that since gold is inversely correlated market, it would stand to reason that gold would sell off, right? So that seems to be aligned, right? So market in some sort of range. We talked about range that gold was in, and quite possibly I would not rule out the possibility for price to come back and revisit settlement from Friday. Okay, we broke below the London range, right? Initial balance range, and we retested it, and now it appears that it wants, maybe it's intent on revisiting settlement from Friday. Okay. Let's take a look at the CL. Okay, CL, we see that a market that continues to show signs of bearish, kind of price action. We have reached the 200% extension of this London range, so that could cause maybe the market to potentially reverse. But nonetheless, I think we need to continue to look for opportunities to the downside. Okay, and then across all the equities are showing signs of some strength. Right, whatever weakness we're seeing in the metals seems to be translating into strength in the equity markets. Right, NQ showing signs of strength in the shorter time frame. ES also showing signs of strength. Okay, and then ultimately the Dow also. Okay, all giving us a similar kind of look and feel. All right. So just to summarize, before maybe we look at maybe some alternative markets. Good morning. Good morning, Marie. So again, gold appears to be in some sort of range, possibly in a bearish swing of that range. Crude oil continues to be bearish, and then on the shorter time, I would say across the equities, we're seeing a little bit of strength. Maybe the Christmas rally is underway. I'm not sure. Okay. So what I'd like to do with the time remaining is to take a look at the silver, because silver has been quite an interesting market to follow of late here. Okay. So looking at the silver market, I'm just going to take a look at the daily. No big news today. Yeah, not really. Tomorrow we're getting some big news, right? So daily, right? Whatever weakness we're seeing in the gold, we're seeing some relatively a good amount of strength in the silver market. We're developing a bullish engulfing candle here on the daily. Let's take a peek here at the monthly. That's strong, right? Monthly going vertical on us. Weekly also showing strength. Daily, oops, that's not what I wanted. I ended up in some other market, right? Daily also showing higher highs and higher lows. So silver appears to be in some sort of bullish trend. Okay. 4 hour also maybe of late here. Maybe of late. Let's see. Okay, so I'd like to see the market. We got a little bit of a pretty strong sell off here at the open on Friday, and now we seem to be trying to recover whatever we lost there. Okay, so I would say that in order to really embrace the longs, obviously we need to see price get above 64,820, right? Because that's the last area where we had the sellers kind of step into this market. Okay, with some volume. I don't know what was the catalyst for this, but it came in with all guns a blazing, right? So it'd be interesting to see what we see here in the 30-minute. So let's take a look at the 30-minute. Okay, so we had 1, 2, 3 consecutive candles here to the downside. Now we are coming into an area where we could see some sellers kind of step in. Okay, so 64,820. Let's take a look and see what they were able to do with the initial balance range across these various markets. So we'll start off with the Asia session. All right, so Asia was able to take this market long. Okay, a nice strong move to the upside in Asia. Let's see, London, not quite similar to what we're seeing. We saw in gold, right? Asia was bullish. London was kind of neutral. They made an attempt here to go higher, but it has at least initially been rejected. Okay, price still is kind of flirting with staying above the 9 EMA, right? And we are a bit extended to the downside. So it would not be out of the realm of possibility here if we were to come back down to VWAP before we made any sort of concerted move here to the upside. Okay. Let's see. Fixed range volume profile. I think I've already done. Yes. No. Let's go ahead and do that. Fixed range volume profile. Let's open up the start of Friday session to close. So you can see that price is above value. Okay. So indicating that folks are willing to pay a premium to be a part of this market here, right? So, but we are seeing a little bit of a little bit of a slowdown. And if you look to the left, right, you see that we are still inside the series of bearish candles here, right? So at some point, there's the possibility, right, until we can break above this series of bearish candles, we open ourselves up to the possibility of having sellers step in anywhere in this area, right? Until we can maybe break and hold above this level. Okay, so yeah, this is pretty much the initial balance from Friday, right? Pretty much the initial balance from Friday, right? So if we go 530, 1, 2, Yeah. So this basically is the session range for Friday, right? This is the session range for Friday, right? In the silver. Okay. And we've been kind of working our way, kind of grinding our way through that level. But until we can get above, I would say 65, then it opens up the door for the possibility of, someone or a set of sellers kind of stepping in and driving the market lower again. Okay. So unless there's another market here, guys, you kind of covered silver. I'm looking to see maybe we can add it as kind of our staple of products to review going forward. I find there are opportunities in silver. It looks like ES will potentially shoot for a session gap. Okay. All right. Yeah. So if there's no other requests, guys, we'll if there's any other requests, I'm happy to take a look. Otherwise, yeah, we'll go ahead and close off this session. Again, don't be shy with the likes. Don't be shy with the subscribes. Don't be shy with leaving me a comment or two on the channel. Okay. And as we close this session and close all sessions, trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. Yeah, have a great session, Sticks, Ali, and Marie, and everyone who's here. Okay, enjoy or have a hopefully successful session here. Be patient, wait for your levels, let the market come to you, and then don't be afraid to execute when it does. All right, have a good day, and we'll talk again soon.